That was some more questions. I had another look and I found some more. So another question is, what's the best land for fish farm? If you're going to do a pond culture, then the best is probably, I'll try and show you some of this. This is, oops, I dropped it. This is just some sort of clay material. You can see it now is cracked, but actually when it's wet it forms quite a nice impenetrable layer, because you basically don't want your water to just go out really quickly. So I would say clay is probably the best if you've got that. So something, you can do a mixture of mud, silt and a bit of sand. So it's sort of, the way you do it is you get it when it's dig up some of the ground, pick it in your hand, and you can get a sense when you give it a squeeze. Does it stay in a ball? Then that's clay. Does it fall apart really easily? Then that's very sandy. Is it somewhere in between? Then maybe it's silt. What's the smell, colour, texture, that type of thing. You'll get an idea what type of soil it is, because of course there's not enough water coming in to keep this pond topped up if there was enough going out. So you basically want the water to just stay there for a couple of reasons. One, so that you're not worried about having enough water, and then two, you also want to make sure that your pond, which is being fertilised, the green stuff is growing in it, the little plants which the fish eat, you want that in your pond. So if you're getting rid of your water, then that's also leaving your pond. So that's the best soil, clay. If you've got sandy soil, you're going to have a problem, because you're going to have a lot of water leaving your pond. There are ways to overcome that. So sometimes people will put like a lining to stop water from escaping, but again, that adds to your costs, but it is possible. The other best land, I would say, is you want somewhere that is not going to flood, so it can't be too low-lying, and you need to know the history of the place. Have you had floods in the past? If you get a flood, what happens is, you can see this bank here, the water could potentially come down from this direction, flow down, and then overtop the pond all the way down, and then of course what happens is the fish can then swim out. So in a flood, they could break a bank, so you need to think about your bank so they're constructed correctly. The banks are the bits in the background a lot that run along the pond. Make sure that's constructed correctly so that a bit of pressure, water, heavy rain rain on the outside comes, water on the outside from a flood comes, not going to sweep your bank away, so you need to be careful of that. But also it's not going to go over the top, and then your fish are going to escape. You also don't want to put it somewhere where there's going to be a drought. So when the dry season comes, if you're doing a pond culture system, is there going to be a problem with drought? You're going to run out of water. So good to know all year round what you've got. You don't want your water source to run out, really, because we top up our ponds every day with a bit of water, because you lose some for evaporation, remember, so you need some water coming in. Dry season, that's particularly important. The other question I saw is, what's the best month for fish farming? You can grow fish all year round. There's different factors that affect fish growth rate. So during the dry season, get very hot. So that's good for tilapia because they want it hot. You want it, the best growing conditions for tilapia are 27 to 30 degrees, the temperature of the water. So that's pretty hot. So that's good for the fish because they grow quicker and faster, they're more efficient with their feed. During the wet season, the temperature drops when it's raining, so you get less of a growth. But that can be good as well, because then you have problem. If you've only got a couple of weeks where you know your water source is going to dry out, your pond's probably going to be all right if it's filled up. So during dry season, if you've got one of those people and you're getting, during the wet season, you're getting water coming in, so there's advantages there. What's the fastest growing fish? Well, there's a reason people farm Nile tilapia, which is Oreochromis niloticus, that's the Latin name. Those fish grow really quickly, they're very easy to produce. There are other species of tilapia, hundreds, but I would say that Nile tilapia, if you can get hold of it, it's a very good fish to grow. It's also really easy to grow, that's the main point. So hard to kill, as I always tell people, so you want that, especially if you're doing it for the first time, and it grows quickly. So I think that's the rest of the questions. Like I say, put some in the comments, and then we'll get round to answering those.